today. President Trump moving to keep a promise. Monumental promises in American history. He takes a decisive step toward national reconciliation and an extraordinary act of leadership. The president has issued sweeping pardons and commutations. You know this because it's all people are talking about this week for over 1,500 individuals involved in the events of January the 6th, 2021. For many, this is a bold move forward in healing the nation deeply divided over the last few years. Supporters of the pardon see this as a gesture of unity, offering a second chance to those who believed they were acting out of patriotism or a duty to their country. Today, we're joined by Kelly Meggs, a recently released January 6th participant, and his wife, Connie, who also served time as a January 6th participant and prisoner. Kelly was a member of the controversial group, the Oath Keepers, which has been a lightning rod for a lot of this discussion. Welcome to both of you. Kelly and Connie, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.
Really appreciate it. All right, Connie, let me start with you. You were in for a shorter period of time, and you were released. Kelly, you stood there a lot longer. Connie, what were you charged with? What were you convicted of? And ultimately, what did the pardons and commutations do for you?
I was charged with the 1512. I was charged with, I conspired to break down the doors that were opened an hour and a half before I got there. I got that charge. And I got also going on restricted grounds. They gave me 15 months in prison.
Were you cleared of all that then? Was your name included on the list of people that were wiped clean? All right. So, Kelly, you had to wait a lot longer. You had to wait there until it finally came out. You told me earlier today here on Real America's Voice you were there just a couple clicks short of 4 years, right?
Yeah, I was there 1 month short of 4 years.
All right. So what did you do? What was your crime?
Well, we all had the 1512C2 charge, which is obstruction of official proceeding. It's actually part of a witness tampering statute, but they were utilizing a very small clause in that statute that says otherwise interrupts an official proceeding. But that statute, as the Supreme Court ruled, only applies to judicial hearings. So that's what I was charged with for the first 2 years. But right after the January 6th committee came out and started talking about the fact that it was an insurrection and they were trying to overthrow the government and they were bringing charges against Donald Trump, they came back and charged us with seditious conspiracy right at the anniversary of January 6th. So what ended up happening was they put the seditious conspiracy charge on top with the underlying crime of the 1512C2, which was obstructing.
Let me ask you a couple of things there, Kelly. Let me ask you a couple of things. Were you in the Capitol, inside the building?
I was.
Okay, and were you let in? Did you kick down doors? Did you break your way in? Or did you just walk through one of those doors that was open?
The door was open. We were told that police were being attacked in the building. So we went up close to the doors. We were actually on the 4th step. And then the doors banged open and the crowd started surging. And we just started getting pulled into this crowd. Literally, while we were going in, I told my wife, I am like, I don't care what you do. Keep your feet underneath you or you will be trampled. Because I was lifted off the ground at times. And I'm 6'4", 300 pounds, okay? I was being lifted in the air. And I was worried that I was going to not be able to get traction when I got inside the building. But once the crowd surged through the double doors and you kind of gained your balance, I started walking in towards the rotunda, just kind of following the crowd. And there was an officer directly in front of me, fist bumping everybody as they were coming in. So no one was trying to stop us at that point. I'm not saying that earlier in the day, because we got there at 2:40. We actually, they say we breached the Capitol at 2:39. And
let me ask you something. Did you assault a police officer? Did you commit any physical crime? You got swept into the building. Did you do damage to the building? Did you threaten anybody? Were you violent inside? Any of those things?
I protected 2 Capitol police officers. One was Harry Dunn. He was trapped in a stairwell with a crowd in front of him. One of my members from Florida saw it, came and got me, and we pulled right in front of him and formed a wall. We have videotape evidence of it, and they blacked it out in trial and wouldn't let us show that segment. Also,
Were
on the
you
way
armed
out,
when you? Now, these are all important questions. If they didn't adjudicate your case, I'll do it right here in front of everybody. Were you armed when you got into the building? Either one
no,
of you?
not. Absolutely not.
No.
Didn't even carry a gun.
So
No, I carried anything on a water bottle that was not frozen.
So let me ask you something. You're part of Oath Keepers, or at least you were. Are you still?
No, well, right now the organization is no longer together.
All right, okay, but Oath Keepers have been one of the cudgels that they've used to beat over the head of the people that were involved with the riots and whatever went on at the Capitol on January the 6th, 2021.
Absolutely, we're doing that.
Well, I need to ask you this because this is what they've called you as by association. You're a white supremacist. You're a white nationalist. You're a racist. Are you any of those things?
Absolutely not.
We're Christians.
Right. Well, they don't like those much either on any given Friday. I'll tell you that. So let me ask you what.
Catholic.
And I'm Catholic Christian. No worse.
Yeah. So you spent 4 years in prison.
Yep.
Even if you'd been guilty of the things they claim, I don't know how you would overthrow the government without, some sort of an organization and some sort of a plan and some sort of, weapon. To me, it's always been a stretch. I never saw it. It sounds like a disorganized mob at worst. And there were some violent people. Do you think that some of the people that were there maybe should have spent time in prison for some of the things that went on that day? Are there people that were guilty of crimes on this side? I don't mean on the law enforcement side, but on this side?
Absolutely. I think there was a lot of instigators and agitators in the crowd. We actually physically have, through watching our evidence and our videos, you can actually see people come up from the back of the crowd who are dressed in Trump regalia. They'll start hitting police and stuff, and then they'll back into the crowd, and then the police start to attack, and they're not attacking the guy that hit them. They're attacking everybody that wasn't involved in that. So those agitators and instigators need to all be picked out. And those people are the ones that should be in prison, not the regular protester who his wife was getting assaulted by a police officer and he pushed him back. And just by touching him, now he's assaulting an officer, as they called it, no matter what you did.
Yeah. Now, we've heard from a variety of sources that there were thousands of hours of videotape that were never released to the January 6th committee and not released to you, or not released by the January 6th committee, I should say, and not released to people like you who were in court fighting for your freedom. And now there could be a new commission. There could be a new commission put together by President Donald Trump. Do you want that to happen? Do you look forward to that happening? Do you want answers about what really happened and who was involved?
Well, first of all, Barry Loudermilk happens to be the chairperson of that, and which I'm glad Jim Jordan did that. Barry Loudermilk has been working with a gentleman named Steve Baker, who's put together 2 videos that prove that Harry Dunn and Stephen Lazarus lied under oath about what we did. So I'm really happy that Loudermilk's on top of the chair, and I certainly hope that they will bring us in to give our testimony and show the exact videos of what happened, compare it to the testimony that those officers gave, because it's clear that those officers were lying, and it's been proven.
Well, and there's been a lot of stories, inaccurate stories spread about January the 6th. It was used as a political cudgel against those in Donald Trump's camp. Still is. They are still trying to use January 6th as a political weapon after he made these pardons and commutations. It sounds, obviously, you're happy that it happened. You're out. Connie, you're out as well, so it worked out for both of you. I'll give you the last word.
I would just say one more thing. If Donald Trump really wants to take this narrative and put it away, he needs to allow this January 6th committee to do the formal investigations that they need to do. They need to call in people that are in these cases, not only to show what the officers did, but they also need to expose what the Department of Justice did. The judges in D.C. are criminal of what they're doing. The constitutional violations are amassed crazily. How do you have 12 different judges say that this is a valid statute against us, and then as soon as it gets to the Supreme Court, it gets thrown out, and it's 6-3 or whatever it is. They should be questioned, and they're not doing it. And that's what Donald Trump can do to erase the entire insurrection narrative and bring justice to all of us.
Well, that's what we're going to find out if that happens. Kelly, Connie, I really appreciate you being here and sharing your stories. This is going to go on for a while because the Democrats think they've got a political bit of gold here. I don't think they do. I think the American people have considered January the 6th and voted. And I think the American people are in favor of the commutations and the pardons that have been handed out thus far. Guys, thank you very much for being here.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.